We all love Uma Thurman, don't we? At one point, she was Hollywood's biggest star, and everybody was talking about her. After Pulp Fiction dropped, the entire world was captivated with her talent, and having Uma on your film meant it was destined for box office greatness. But in recent years, her shine has somewhat dimmed. Let's talk about why we haven't heard from this Hollywood royalty in a while. First, the Quentin Tarantino glam. If anybody asks you to name two Uma Thurman movies, chances are you're saying Pulp Fiction and Kill Bill, both written and directed by Tarantino. Now, don't get us wrong, she has incredible filmography, but it was QT who took the actress to stardom, and there was no looking back after that. After her first collab with the esteemed director, she split her time between Oscar bait movies such as Les Miserables and those that pandered to a wider audience, like The Truth About Cats and Dogs, but none ever hit the spot. And just when it seemed like her career was headed in the wrong direction, in came Tarantino. The two teamed up to create both Kill Bill films, and those triggered a surge in her star status once again. But like with Pulp Fiction, it faded away quickly after that. So we have to ask the question, is Thurman's career entirely dependent on QT? Maybe all she needs to do is hit up her old friend to get back in the mainstream. Oh, and there's hope yet. There were rumors that the director was interested in creating a new Kill Bill movie, and get this, he wants to cast Maya Hawke in it as well. Where do we sign up for this? Next, was there trouble in paradise? Ladies, choose your man wisely, or you might get stuck with somebody like Arpad Busan. According to TMZ, Uma's ex, the father of her youngest child, Luna, threatened her a few years ago that if she filmed a movie again, she won't get to see her daughter anymore. And if there's ever a reason to not shoot a film, that has to be it. But yikes, there were also rumors that Busan had filed a request with the court to get more custody of their daughter. With all these legal battles with her ex, it's not surprising that Thurman's occupied with more important things and just hadn't had the time to dazzle on our screens. Coming up, her charity work. Speaking of more important things, Uma has been an avid supporter of many charities. She's a board member of Room to Grow, a charity that helps children born into poverty. Apart from that, she's done some advertising work as a spokesperson for USAID, an organization that focuses on helping those affected by war, famine, and drought in Africa. A few years ago, the actress also raised awareness for AIDS at an event in Hong Kong. So with all this going on, who has the time for Hollywood blockbusters? If you ask us, it seems like the 52-year-old's got her priorities right, and we totally respect it. Moving on, maybe it just doesn't work. We don't like saying this, but maybe it's just not going too well for the veteran actress. After all, she's got 3 Razzies. The first came after 1993's Even Cowgirls Get the Blues, and the reaction wasn't pretty. Her next 2 Razzies were for back-to-back roles in 1997's Batman and Robin and 1998's The Avengers. Where was Leo DiCaprio? And why didn't he tell her not to do superhero films? Now, she managed to bounce back after these flops, but they left a dark shadow. After all, the internet never forgets. And considering that she's literally a household name, people think of massive successes when they think of her. But she hasn't got too many of those. Also, her films don't do that well at the box office anymore. One thing nobody can deny is the range in her filmography. But while there were lower budget efforts that weren't aiming for blockbuster status, she's also been in quite a few high-profile duds, including My Super Ex-Girlfriend and Gattaca. And well, that's not a good look for anybody, is it? Following this, is she asking for too much? Now that we know her movies don't bring in too much money, maybe it's time we discuss how much she's asking for her films. It doesn't make sense to pay astronomical prices for somebody who rarely brings in a crowd. So very few studios are willing to take a gamble on her, which also explains why she's been MIA for so long. For instance, Be Cool, the film she did after Kill Bill, made less than half its biggest budget on the opening weekend and barely broke even on overall domestic sales. So, is she worth it? Yes, for nostalgic reasons, but probably not if you're looking to make some money. Up next, Uma's lawsuit lottery. We've talked about whether she's asking for too much, but let's consider this. What if she doesn't need the money any longer? Over 10 years ago, Thurman settled a $10 million lawsuit against the British production company Handmade Films, the studio behind classics like Monty Python's The Life of Brian. Apparently, the actress signed a contract to receive $2.8 million for the unreleased film Eloise. But when the film got delayed and Uma wasn't paid, she sued for her original fee, plus expenses lost waiting for production on the film to start. Between that and her millionaire ex, it's possible that she doesn't need to act in every movie that comes her way just to make some money. After all, who wants to work when you don't absolutely need to? Not to mention, she's busy being a mom. All lawsuits and gossip aside, Uma is a mother, first and foremost. All mommies and parents out there, millionaire or not, know that it's a lot of work to raise kids on your own. By Thurman's own account, it's been super hectic. She told The Times a few years ago that her biggest wish was to make a little space for herself, and she didn't really have much time to be with just herself. But being a working woman, she didn't know how to justify wanting this. There was always so much going on. So it would make sense if the actress took a step back from her career to focus on her kids and herself and just get some quiet time. We all need that at some point, don't we? Moving on, Uma prefers the small screen. Throughout the 90s and 2000s, she cranked out an average of 2 feature-length films every year. But these days, Uma prefers more varied roles, and she's been quite busy on the small screen. Only this year, the actress was the lead in 2 TV shows, Suspicion and Super Pumped. In recent years, she's been on a handful of series like The Slap and Imposters, so maybe that's just what she enjoys doing more these days. Back in the 90s, television was considered a step down for film actors, but TV has taken over pop culture, and these days, film actors can dip in and out of TV without looking bad. Maybe we're very close to Thurman reinventing herself in a way that nobody saw coming. Finally, Uma's return to the stage. Now, it's no secret that Hollywood isn't too kind to older women, so they usually have to look in other places to be in the industry. Yes, even big stars like Uma Thurman are victims of Hollywood's deep-rooted Anywho, the 52-year-old has found her place in front of audiences instead of cameras. A few years ago, she played the lead in a Broadway production of The Parisian Woman. 2 years after that, she was the lead in 19th century playwright Henrik Ibsen's Ghosts at the Williamstown Theatre Festival. She recently said that she enjoys being on stage too, so maybe we'll see more of that in the future. And we can confirm that she's fabulous at it. Either way, whatever Uma Thurman chooses to do in the future, she'll be great at it. Now let's move on to some other related news. First, Maya Hawke's song, Shoutouts Her Parents. We all love Maya Hawke, the actor, but did you know that she also dabbles in music? The 24-year-old released her second album, Moss, last week, and many are convinced that she references the real-life split of her parents, Uma and Ethan Hawke. The song paints a picture of a girl growing up in the middle of her parents' split, how she navigated their divorce, and how it's impacted her own relationships. Well, it's not hard to see why people would make that connection. Next, Uma praises Charlize Theron. Folks, who doesn't love Charlize? She's an absolute star, and it turns out Thurman's a big fan too. In a recent interview, all she had was good things to say about about her The Old Guard 2 co-star. Uma said that the Aussie was a great leader, as well as a great actress, and all she could do is watch her and say hats off. We love to see it. Finally, Maya Hawke pays tribute to her mom. This was already our new favorite family, and it's a gift that keeps on giving. In Hawke's new film, Do Revenge, the star has quite a few awesome looks, and it turns out her hair was inspired by her mom's iconic looks. And Taylor Swift. That's our multiverse of madness. That's a wrap for this video. What's your favorite Uma Thurman role? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.